Also, evangelicalism is changing from within. And there's been a huge discussion about this among evangelical Christians. If you go to the Moody Bible Institute bookstore, go tear yourself away from borders and have a look around there, you'll find that there's constant discussion of this. Why is it that we born-again Christians, our names are written in the Lamb's Book of Life, only we are going to go to heaven? Why are we so similar to everybody else? Why do we have just as many divorces? Why do we have even more domestic abuse? No, they're seriously troubled by this. If you take a look at evangelical Christianity as it was, let's say in the 1920s, or come a bit later, even just at the end of just at the time of the Second World War, what do you see? You see people who. What is worse than communism? The Roman Catholic Church. Springs to your lips immediately. You don't wear makeup, you don't go to dances, you don't go to the cinema, you don't have a TV, you don't wear fancy clothes. You certainly don't wear jewelry, and you certainly don't go in for body piercing. They're just signs, these are just works of the devil, and when rock and roll came along, that is obviously an instrument of Satan. Right? Now, evangelical Christians aren't like that anymore. Not at all. They're covered in makeup, elegantly coiffed, and they have rock bands. And they stopped. There's been a subtle change. I'm an observer of these things. I notice if you talk to evangelical Christians 40 years ago, they would commonly use the word Christian in a context which implied that Episcopalians and Roman Catholics and Presbyterians were not Christians. Right. They wouldn't necessarily come right out and say those people are not Christians, but they would constantly say, I'm a Christian, and what that means is da-da-da-da. And the implication is those people in the mainline Protestant denominations, and certainly those people in the Catholic Church, are not Christians. They have changed in this. They now write books in which they talk about evangelicalism and what it can contribute to Christianity. This is something in the past 40 years. It's something that was unheard of 40 years ago. Just consider what happened when Mel Gibson's movie The Passion of the Christ came out. Evangelical churches were running busloads of people to see that movie, which actually, as someone who knows old-style Protestantism very well from the inside, is filled with Catholic nuances and Catholic impetuses and Catholic symbolism. And he's really, he down to such details as there being no Joseph and no siblings around the house. I mean, it's just an absolute Catholic, anti-Protestant version of that New Testament story. But, you know, they found that the United States, as well as being one of the most religious countries in the world, is also extremely ignorant about some basic essentials. More than 50% of American adults cannot name even one of the four canonical Gospels. More than 50%. Whereas in Europe, where most people have no time for church whatsoever, you would find the vast majority of people would consider themselves to be extremely ill-educated if they didn't know the names of the four canonical Gospels. So there is this kind of ignorance there as well. Now somebody might say, in response to this, well, Christianity has always evolved, it's always adapted. Christianity in the medieval times is not the same as New Testament Christianity. That's not the same as Reformation Christianity. Christianity changes, and that's a fair point. However, I would simply point out that all these changes within evangelical Christianity are changes in the direction of accommodation with the secular world, with being hip. And this is an interesting thing, that liberalization is not happening by paid ministers diluting the doctrine. It's happening because the most entrepreneurial evangelists are trying to be hip. My final example of this change of evangelicalism from within is Joel Osteen. Has anybody here seen Joel Osteen? Yes. He is, Joel Osteen is the biggest selling religious author in America today. I just looked up some numbers before I came out. Your Best Life Now has sold, which came out, I think, like 2 years ago, has sold 3 million copies. It's selling 3,000 per week. His latest book, Become a Better You, has sold, it's still in cloth only, has sold 1 million copies and is selling 4,000 per week. Now, both of those books have numerous collateral materials, you know, the Become a Better You daily workbook and that kind of thing, you know, that go along with it. Now, I've listened to and watched Reverend Osteen with great interest. He has the biggest church in the country in Houston, Texas. He's on TV all the time if you have cable. You just turn the channel, you'll come across his smiling face. He's a much more eloquent and smooth speaker than I am. He's a Southerner, of course. At the end of his shows, TV shows, which is TV extravaganzas, which is what they are, there's this little simple message: you can come to Jesus. Apart from that, what is the content of Joel Osteen's preaching? Essentially, I think it's fair to say, God can help you to make money. Yep. I mean, that's it. And maybe God can help you to not be addicted and to have better relations and a better sex life, but that's just the icing on the cake. It's basically God can help you to make money. He's filled with Bible stories. He never talks about hell. He never talks about the devil. He never talks about atonement. He never talks about all the essentials of Protestantism. He talks about how if you trust God, God will help you out, and especially he'll look after your business interests. So,
the world's working for him.
Yeah, it certainly is. Well, my conclusion from all this is this, that secularization, the theory that there's something in modern life that causes religion to decline in influence, is a correct theory. It can be defended. The United States is not a true exception. And it's certainly a theory, it's certainly a process which takes centuries to run its course. And I don't expect that 50 years from now everybody's going to be atheist or anything like that. I would say that 50 years from now the United States is going to be, in all likelihood, religiously rather like Britain is now. That is, about 5% of people go to church, about 10% of people say they do, and the only people who are really enthusiastic about religion are immigrants. Thank you very much.